Hello, my name is Christopher Nolan. This is my film portfolio. This is a virtual storyboard. I'm going to be offering a commentary for the first scene in my screenplay, Tyre Wheel, and let's get right into it. We'll start with kind of the meaning behind why it's called Tyre Wheel because it's quite a confusing name. One day over the summer or something, I've had the as I said in my thing, I've had the ideas for characters for years, but then I threw them all together and I had a story and I was like, what am I going to call it? And one day I saw. Not one day, over the span of like a month, these kept showing up on the side of the road. And I know that they're called tire trims now, after much research. But they were just so insignificant. Well, not insignificant, but like they just kind of in the corner of your eye. And they just kept kind of building up and up in numbers. One day, they're just in the background. And I'd keep noticing them. I'd keep kind of, hey, look at that. And, hey, look at that. And then it kept going and going and going. And then I saw about like 15 of them one day. I was like, that's hardly a coincidence. And I went, what do I call them? They're just some kind of tire rim wheel. And the rest is history. Anyway, we'll get straight to the thing. I built a little set out of Lego. Well, I tried to build a little set out of Lego. It was only kind of a mock. And so I got my phone and I started recording. This shot is meant to be a pan up from like a road into one half of a dark alleyway. And this is meant to represent kind of like a bin and then just like trash and like cars in the background, you know. And then this character who's kind of laying behind the lens is meant to represent a homeless man, just kind of like big bearded, raggedy, kind of torn clothes, you know. And so it's only figurative, it isn't actually Chewbacca, obviously. But so the homeless man, gets up from being asleep, gets up from behind the bins, he's hearing like a beeping, a faint and on the left side of the screen, so it's woken him up. What's he doing? And the reason why I feel that this scene is crucial is that the actual main character of the film, who we'll see in a bit, I wanted them to. I had in my mind, not in the script as an addition to the notes. I had in my mind that the actor who plays that character plays this character, but he's in like heavy, like beard, heavy, loads of hair, completely like different. You wouldn't really recognize them unless you were told. So the audience, when seeing this film, when seeing kind of like promotional material, or the actual main character on posters played by whichever actor, and then start the film and you see this guy. And you're like, hey, that must be him, that must be our main character, that must be our guy, this must be how he starts. Oh, he's kind of like, he's in a right strop, like, he's in this dirty little alleyway, what's going on? And he mustn't be, an audience, it's a bit, never mind about being prejudicial, but the audience sees this character, he sees that he's home, and they're always going, wait, that must be our main character. However, so the camera follows this guy kind of parallel, the homeless man, across the alleyway, coming to the origin of the beeping sound, and it's this car, it's this big tarp, and then that's when this camera stops being parallel and focuses more on the car. And so the homeless man he's like looking at what's this big kind of car with a big tarp doing over in such a grotty alleyway. And so he grabs the cloth and he pulls, and there's a beautiful cut there of him pulling it and a focus up on the car like this. I felt that this is a good shot, but somehow doesn't signify the sheer like kind of animosity is the right word of this particular car. This is a certain kind of Lamborghini. I don't know my cars too well, but I saw this one and I was like, there's a lot of flamboyance to it, there's a lot of extravagance to it. Because when you think of Lamborghini, the big fast cars, the big kind of expensive, this is the pinnacle, this is the top, this is the cliche, and I want to go for that cliche. I want it to be extra, and that's why I chose this car, and I prefer it to be in red, a red colour, but the Lego only did that white colour. Anyway, so I like this shot, but however I don't think it got all of the car in, so I kind of zoomed out and tried it again, but it also makes it seem smaller in shot, which I didn't want, so it's a lot of back and forth, me not really knowing what to do, so I took it from a high angle, and that kind of did the same thing anyway. Next, there's a shot of this shot, which is focusing on what I would call the tire rim wheel, and that's what gives a connection to the title, not really that much, but what will you do? And so it's focusing on this. I like it because it gives it perspective of, if I were to draw a line kind of along this, if you can see my cursor, and then along here, it's a good angle, and you don't really see that in film, I would say. Just, well, you probably would, but never mind. Anyway, so this homeless man, he's supposed to be kind of knocking on the window. He's going, why is there such a nice car in such an extravagant, flamboyant car in this scrawny little alleyway? So he's going, he's confused, but he's also intrigued. And so he's knocking on the window there, and he's trying to match he's also trying to find out the origin of the beeping. So he's trying to knock in the same pace to the beeping, which you can't really hear. But anyway, so my idea was to focus on this guy, to see what he's doing, and this half of the car, and then to focus on this half of the car, and you see this is supposed to represent a really big like rocket, and that's why I added that extra flamboyant. That's what I wanted for the car, and I saw this particular type, and I went, if we stuck a rocket to that, it'd be really cool. That's my thought process on that. That's all I needed to do, and it does look cool. Anyway, so it's focusing on that, letting the audience see that there's a huge rock on the back of this car, and what possibly that'd be. So there we go, and you see all the stuff. Anyway, so then it was supposed to cut when he's knocking the homeless man, and then it cuts to this, and it's revealed. Our main character is revealed. He's here. He's sleeping against the windowsill, or against the side. The passenger. No, not the passenger. He's sleeping against the windshield, and the homeless man's knocking, and he's knocking. He's going, wake up. What's going on? Wake up. Right, so this is going to be our main character, and this front angle shot was to capture him kind of, when we first see him, he's against the windowsill, his face is smushed up against the glass, and he's asleep, and then so he hears this knocking, he hears the pounding going on against the windshield, so he's waking up, and then he's, in this shot, he's facing the camera, and he's half asleep, so his head kind of follows the rest of his body, and he falls down, and that's what I was trying to portray here. Obviously it's a bit difficult because he's an Lego, and so he falls down, and then he hits his head, and it makes a really comical, like, bang, and he gets right back up again, and he's awake. And he gets back up, and then this is our main character. He's awake. He's alive. He's sleeping on the job. You can see that he's like he might not be too president, but he has this high quality job. He's in the script. He's kind of an agent of some sort, and he's sleeping on the job. That says a lot about his character, I feel, and that isn't really evident in this Lego thing. But I try. So he turns his head and he looks, and this is kind of it's a funny back and forth, I feel, of if the windshield's here. A shot from the inside of the car facing out at the homeless man, and he's signaling for money because he can obviously it's a fancy car. He obviously has a few bob, and he's going, please, can we any spare change? But you can't hear that. I didn't want anyone speaking in this first sequence. And then it goes to the other side of the kind of the conversation from the perspective on the shoulder perspective facing down into the car of this guy, or we've called him Damien, and the windshield's on, and he's signaling, I don't have any money. Yeah, he holds up his wallet, and he's signaling, he's showing him he's got no money, and that kind of funny back and forth. But you can't. He's like mouthing, he's got. And I feel I like it. The overall tone of the movie. It's like I don't want to make comparisons because I want to be kind of as original as I can be, but if you take Pulp Fiction, that's obviously such a gory, such an I don't want to say inappropriate, but obviously inappropriate for children. But there are some scenes in it, and it's really funny, and it's really like the watch bit with Christopher Walken. It's only for the laugh, and what I wanted to portray here. I'm a big fan of The Naked Gun and Airplane, that kind of thing. I just think it's that visual element to it, where everyone's really like deadpan, but something really funny is going on. I think it makes me laugh. So in this scene, someone in like this supposed to be a black hooded kind of cloak walks up and kind of ushers the homeless man out of the way, going like, "Oh, excuse me, please." That's the only voice that we hear, and I think for this person being, I think it's appropriate. And so he gets him to roll down the window. Damien in our car. This person gets him to roll down the window, and he asks for the wallet. He goes, "Wallet, please," and he gives him like a. And so your man gives him the wallet. Here you go. Well, he doesn't say that, but you know. And he turns around, and there's the reveal that it's just like a comical Grim Reaper kind of hood in a skeleton. And he takes the wallet, and he gives him back a library card. He takes the wallet, and he puts it on a big scythe, and he walks away. And that's just to show that the wallet is dead. And I thought it was funny. And so he walks out of the shot, and then the homeless man, he's in disbelief. He's gone even more disbelief because, well, obviously it is an movie. So he's looking back at your man in the car, and he's looking back at the Grim Reaper, and he's looking back at the car, and looking back at the Grim Reaper. And he's going. And then he chases the Grim Reaper and he tackles him. And that I felt was to add kind of an extra layer. Because the homeless man is obviously just a throwaway character. However, that Grim Reaper bit, it gives it a bit of depth because, I don't know, maybe he could have lost someone and that's why the way he is, that kind of thing. I just wanted to layers on layers on layers on layers. Anyway, that was the start. It then evolves into more character development and then a really like fast-paced action scene with loads of flashy lights and stuff. It's a whole trip. You'll have to watch it one day if I make it one day. Hopefully I'll make it one day. Hopefully I'll make it.